So here we go, everybody. Welcome to another edition of the recap. And today I'm joined by good old Ben Diaz as we talk about the takeaways from Town's 1-1 draw against Cheltenham Town at Portman Road. A frustrating day at the club. Ben, thanks as always for joining me. How you doing, my friend?
I'm good, thanks, Ross. Yeah, Monday now, so try and look at the next game. I know we're going to look back at the Cheltenham game, but trying to talk about the game maybe less emotionally as you normally would straight after the result. So we'll get into it. But Monday's done, and we're looking forward to Saturday. But let's have a chat about this 1-1 draw.
Indeed, my friend. Cheltenham Town, of course, came into this game losing against a non-league team of our church. So they're always going to be, wanting to bounce back from that. And sort of before we get into the game, my friend, of course, we had a nice little curry afterwards. So we're able to sort of bring our spirits back up after witnessing a 1-1 draw. That was good. And a few points in the game of pool. But back to the game. Just wanted to bring that in because it's always good after the game. You always just want to go off and just enjoy your rest, or even if you've seen a defeat, win, draw. Just always good to just go off and, sometimes football's not the most important thing. Sometimes just enjoying yourself and having a few drinks or having some nice meal with your family. But anyway, digressing very completely here. So let's get back to the game, Ben. And, another big crowd. The first takeaway, though, is, of course, Luke Wolfenden. Of course, he's a new father and he scored a goal. And that was a good goal as well. I like back post goals. But, yeah, great time for him and his partner with a newborn baby as well.
Yeah, thanks for touching on the curry and the drinks, Ross. As you say, it's important to let off some steam after a frustrating result, and I think we did that, which was good fun. Or like you said, family is important, spending time with your family, and of course, Luke Wolfenden now has an extended family. So congratulations to him and his partner. And what a better way to celebrate, scoring his first goal of the season at home, Portman Road. Really nice to see us score from another set piece. That's certainly something that we've improved on since last season, just attacking the back post there. I think it's been touched on how it's an important area at set pieces. We can often win the first ball, but we don't have anyone attacking that back stick. It's going to be no good. So, it's almost like a striker's finish attacking that and put the ball in the back of the net. All the teammates I saw were absolutely delighted for him. Excellent celebration, obviously in homage to his newborn child, and I'm sure right now he's thinking life is bloody good. I'm sure he would have preferred it led to 3 points, but from a fan in the ground at the time, I remember before the game we were talking about how the first goal was so vital. We've talked about that many times before when teams will come to frustrate us. So we get the first goal, and I'm sure if you could look at the live bookies odds, would have been, 1 to 10 on probably at that point to go on and win that game. So I likewise was sat in my seat feeling very happy, thinking, here we go. Really pleased for Wolfenden 1-0 up. How many are we going to get? But obviously wasn't to be.
No, yeah, because I thought that was what we needed, an early goal to get us started against the Cheltenham side, who we knew last time we played them, it was Borough at Cheltenham. Of course, they've got a different manager now and everything like that, but it was 0-0 last time out. 1-0 up straight away. I thought, that is good start, and then I thought it was going to be plain sailing from there. Second takeaway is, of course, Marcus Harness's goal. That wasn't a goal. There's different angles about it. Goal line technology. You all go, VAR, should we bring that into the League One? What's your thoughts on it, Ben?
It's difficult. If you put a gun to my head and that's to tell you whether I thought it was in or not, there isn't a gun to my head. But I'm saying that I think that it was in. I think just from looking at the angles over and over again, the way the ball bounces and then comes back out, the way that it comes back out. Again, I'm no physicist, but is it physics? Yeah, physics. When the ball lands and the angles, etc. I just think it looked in. Maybe I'm being blue-eyed, but it looked into me. And there's another point that just all these decisions keep stacking up slightly against us, and everyone keeps telling me that they will even themselves out. But you could come up with quite a nice list now of things that could have gone our way that haven't. And I know I don't like to moan about luck, and I don't really believe in it. I think you make your own luck, but usually when the better team, in inverted commas, the team that dominate possession, the team that have more chances, or I always think Manchester United in the 90s, everyone used to moan, the referees always giving the decision, etc., but they created so many chances in the box. No wonder they had more penalties at Old Trafford. They didn't give their opposition sides many chances in the opposition box, and no wonder there were hardly any penalties, for the opposition at Old Trafford. Those sort of things stay in my mind. And I think with the harness again, I think the officiating, it could have gone our way. They could have given it, because, as we said, with the angles, no one really knows. So it's just another one to add to the list where things have slightly gone against us. Hopefully the tide will turn, because in these games it proved to be very tight. That would have been 2-0 up, would have been game over. We could, even if Cheltenham had got a goal, it would have been 2-1. And when teams come to frustrate us at Portman Road, it doesn't really matter what the scoreline is as long as we win. So it was a very important time in the game.
Yeah, sorry to bring up again. Of course, Harness was involved in another situation, of course, in the Barnsley game, but we won't talk about that. It's happened. That was an
Don't get me started. I had a list, Ross. I had a list. I don't want to get into it.
No, definitely, right. Definitely. Now let's talk about the goal we did concede, and Cheltenham did then equalise, and of course they could have gone 2-1 up as well. They had a chance straight away after that, but another sloppy goal. Walton probably could have done better there. He's a fantastic goalie, of course, but the last two games he had a few little slip ups here and there. And for you're saying this is a bigger issue than the apparent lack of goals.
Yeah, it's interesting. A lot of chatters about Ladapo up front, and does he score enough goals? Or Chapman and Harness, only 1 in 10 between them. I heard the stat today on the, as usual, excellent main pod, and I don't think scoring goals is our issue. If we could keep the ball out the net at the other end, it's not going to matter. Of course, when McKenna first took over, we won a lot of games by the odd goal, or it was one. I know Saturday was 1-1, but we didn't concede many, and it seems that it's becoming a bit of a trend that we're not just conceding goals like away to Plymouth, where they scored 2 stunning goals, and you might think, crikey, it's just hard luck. Fair play to Plymouth. We've conceded some very, very sloppy goals now, and as I said, it's a season of fine margins. Often these games, if you're going to come up against a side that are going to fight for absolutely everything, which you've got to expect, we need things to go our way, but we've got to help ourselves. We've got to keep things tighter at the back. You don't concede, we win that game 1, maybe 2-0 with a goal late in the second half. So yeah, it's really sloppy throughout. I think that the whole team, you could point little things about maybe being sharper in terms of closing down, maybe getting the foot in at the right place. And then, of course, when it falls to the right-hand side and probably like 12 yards out, Walton should save it, yes. But, some goalkeepers, he's a fantastic goalkeeper. He's not going to go for a whole season saving every single shot. Law of averages tells you now and again he'll get beaten. The best goalkeepers in the world get beaten from there. It's just one of those ones where I think we've got to cut out the sloppiness. I'm more concerned about us conceding these goals than we are not scoring enough. We're the second top goal scorers in the league still. We could easily go and bang 2 or 3 at Exeter. We just got to stop conceding, Ross.
Yeah, and there's so many chances in this game. The cliche was we could be there all day, and we probably wouldn't have scored because the amount of chances we did have. But Cheltenham, fair play to them, blocked everything on the line, off the line. Crossbars was hit. Kamara, that chance at the end, we thought, oh my god, what an opportunity that could have been. What was your thinking, Ben, when those chances were happening? Definitely in the last period of the second half. Cameron Burgess coming up top, up front. Yeah, chances all over the place. We just couldn't find that killer goal.
Yeah, I think about the 70th minute, the people I sit next to, I kept saying, we'll score, we'll be all right, we'll score. Obviously made myself look like a bit of a prat because we didn't. But I was so confident that we were creating all those chances. You just think one is going to fall for us that we'll put in the back of the net. I mean, I counted 8 chances here, of which I've put 2 or 3 have just got to go in. I had Humphreys in the first half when it just fell to him from the goalkeeper. I just thought, if he lifts that 2 or 3 yards in the air, that's a goal. He just unfortunately slides it along the floor and it gets another block. There was Wolfenden's head in the second half. I know he gets 1 goal, but I think as a centre half, you've got to be scoring that. Leif Davis's header as well. There was one near the end where it was a follow-up from a save. I think Chaplin and Jackson start to go for the same ball and end up, there's a split second where they almost leave it for each other, where you need that killer instinct that one just shoves the other one out the way and just smashes it in. Kamara's, it's a chance. It was a great effort. Right inside the post, it's inches, wasn't it? I wouldn't call that a miss, more just a chance that didn't fall away. Harness's header, Harness's under the side of the bar chance. I think that's most of them. Ladapo had a header as well. So, I mean, I'm listing chances here. It was one of those days where you just couldn't believe that the ball didn't go in the back of the net. Yes, you can give Cheltenham credit, but I mean, if 2 of those gone in, 3 of them, we could have won 3-4, 5-1. I know Elliot came in after the game saying, like, it's not like we practiced for it. Well, he cannot have practiced for conceding that many chances, because if we were more clinical, we would have won that easily. So I know what he's trying to say, but I didn't necessarily agree with those tones. But then he's not going to come out and slag his own team off after a performance like that where they get a point at Portman Road. So, Yeah, really frustrating missing those chances, but at least we're creating them. I'm still more concerned, as I said, by the sloppiness of conceded.
Definitely. And let's move away from the game then. It's happened. 1-1 draw, point at Portman Road, a frustrating day afternoon. Of course, we'll look ahead to Exeter. But one thing was that the owners were back in town once again. Brett Johnson, Mark Detmer, Buck Aberkai wasn't there, but it was good to see two of the other two guys from Game Changer, of course. Brett Johnson always got a smile on his face. I mean, I think it's the first time he's been back at Portman Road since, the big screens come up and the advertising hoardings, everything like that. Matt Detmer was always his smiley face as well. But it's always good to see them. Fortunately, I couldn't see a win, but I'm sure they were still entertained though, because the amount of chances and just the game itself was a good game in terms of all the chances.
Yeah, I'm sure they enjoyed it. Can't help but think they would have gone home with a slight sour taste in their mouths, because at the end of the day, probably more than absolutely. I mean, us fans were incredibly passionate, but I'm sure when you own the club, you're feeling it even more, because you're feeling it potentially in your pocket if we don't get promoted. So I went to the shops and spent some of my points before the game, and Mark Detmer was in there and incredibly approachable. We walked past him in a big smile on his face, say hello, and he started the conversation. Just started going on about how much they're enjoying it and how they're going to keep spending money, which is obviously music to fans' ears. Just an incredible and personable chap. Couldn't believe how much time. I mean, sort of to the point where I wanted to get to the pub, and he was still rattling on. So really interesting guy. Not that we needed further positivity or had any doubts about the ownership so far, but it was just great to meet him, and just more emphasis on how we're in a really good place. Over 25,000 for Cheltenham at home. I mean, they bought a man and a dog, didn't they? A fair play to those that did turn up from Cheltenham. But to have that many fans for Cheltenham at home, leading up to Christmas, country's about to fall into recession. I just think that, again, club is in a fantastic place. We just need to pick up a few more 3 points at home, I think.
Yeah, definitely. It's now expected, though, isn't it? The support we're getting at Portman Road, the away, support has always been fantastic. Even under the bad years, we've always had a good away following. But Portman Road is now every week we're expected 20 plus, 25 plus. It's just fantastic, and definitely against Cheltenham in League One is fantastic. Let's talk about some more negatives, though, Ben. There's some injuries that came out. Dominic Ball, and he also came out today. Dominic Ball did a tweet about his injury, that it looks like he will be out for the rest of the season, which is just sad news. He's come in to replace Lee Evans, who's also out injured, and you thought, here we go, he's now come back fully up to speed, but unfortunately he's now going to be missing. Tyrese John Jules, he's had a good start to his loan spell at the club. He's also out with a hamstring. They're building up now, Ben. Are you a bit worried? But there's also players returning hopefully soon. Greg Lee, Ahadmi, Lee Evans, hopefully back for Christmas period. But yeah, injuries are now piling up again.
Yeah, it's not ideal. The Ball one, I think they must have known something at Bracknell. When he came off of Bracknell, myself and Dan were right next to the dugout, and there were a few whispers then when he came off. There was something troubling him, and it's obviously the same injury. There's obviously something niggle there that's become a much greater issue. So that's a huge shame. We need players in the middle of the park. I think that you pick up a lot. Evans seems to pick up the odd injury every single season. If you look at his injury record in recent years, it's not particularly good. So hopefully, when he comes back, he can see out the rest of the season. I mean, I've got huge faith in Cameron Humphreys. I thought he was excellent again Saturday. I know people said he could have been a bit sharper for the goal, but I'm seeing that as a collective team thing. So I wouldn't mind seeing Humphreys have a run of games, but we do need Evans back. We're still got incredible riches, I think, in the squad. We've got still some great forward options. Ahadmi to come back, of course. Greg Lee will be the biggest one for me, because Leif Davis cannot keep going on like this down that left-hand side without getting a break. So hopefully around Christmas is a really good time for them to come back, because as we all know, we talk about it every year, the games come thick and fast. So yeah, it's not ideal. Tyrese John Jules is potentially, I think, actually the bigger miss than Ball, just because he provides us something a bit different. And in games like Saturday, he would have done that. He'd have come on and supplied something a bit different. The way he holds up the ball, the way he can turn a defender, the way that he can pull people in and out into space in tight games. He's a very, very good player to bring on. Your likes of Burns and Jackson, sometimes when defences sit deep, it's difficult to get in behind them anyway, whereas John Jules is incredible in small spaces. A bit like Shawnee, even Aluko. So Yeah, Shawnee's going to be close to coming back at Christmas as well, I think, hopefully. So, yes, players to come back. But right now, for the Exeter trip in particular, we do look a bit light. But I'm still confident in the squad. We've got enough good players there, Ross.
Yeah, definitely. And I'm sure, of course, the January transfer window, I'm sure that is now going to be opening Kerry McKenna's mind about, oh, I'm going to need a strength, and I'm sure he will do. Let's quickly talk about their Exeter. Another long trip, of course, on Sky, midday kickoff on a Saturday, which is frustrating, but it is what it is. That's not even a word. Frustration. Frustrating.
That's how
Frustrating.
frustrating it
That
is.
is, mate.
What
That
a
is,
new
mate.
word. Yeah.
Yeah, thought of a new word for it. But Exeter, they had a good result on the weekend. They beat Peterborough 3-2. They're actually ninth in the table, which is just crazy. Of course, they lost their manager. He's gone to Rotherham, and they're still doing a right up there. And of course, they're newly promoted. But how are you feeling for that one, Ben? You know, it's an opportunity to, of course, wanting to bounce back, and of course, once again on TV. So you know, we've been able to get rid of that curse. You know, we've won back-to-back games on TV now on Sky and all that stuff. So your thoughts?
Well, fantastic result playing Peterborough for them at the weekend. Did us a favour, I guess, if you see Peterborough as a promotion rival. Difficult place to go just because of how long the journey is, quite a tight ground. Obviously, they'll be buoyed even further by that result, so they'll get right behind their team. However, a bit like the Cheltenham effect for this week with them losing to Albert Church, you think, beware of the wounded animal, etc. I think there's a chance with Exeter beating Peterborough. You give so much to games when you get a really good result. Sometimes that can work in your favour. So it's very small margins, but again, if we start the game well enough, I'm still confident we'll come away with 3 points. Look, we're second in the league. Again, as I said, second top goal scorers in the league. There is a reason why we're doing that. If you can't be confident in this Ipswich Town team, then you're probably not confident in any Ipswich Town team. So I still think we'll go there and get the 3 points. Incredible following, as you alluded to there, Ross, like we have home and away, but to go all the way to Exeter for a 12 o'clock kickoff, sold out our allocation. I've got my cousin's actually going. He lives down that way. He lives in Trowbridge, so it's one that he's looking forward to. So enjoy the game, Andy. I hope we get the 3 points for you and everybody else who makes that trip. I will be watching on the box in Cambridgeshire, but I think we'll win, Ross. I'm still quietly confident. I think we've got enough to do it, even with the players missing.
Good to hear, my friend. Yeah, of course, we'll bring up a lot of videos ahead of that game later in the week, but as always, just get Ben's thoughts as he on the recap. Well, Ben, thank you very much for joining me as always. Any other business?
No, nothing to add. I'm sure there'll be plenty of gossip and conversation about how we need another striker in January, but that will be for closer to January, not for talking now. It's a long way to go. Let's go to Exeter, bring back the 3 points, and we've got a lovely run of home games in the cups and the cup in the league. So just I'm very much keeping the faith. Come on, Ipswich.
Indeed, my friend. Well, thank you very much for joining me. Thanks everyone for watching, and see you in the next video. Bye-bye for now.